Princess Mononoke, the seminal 1997 anime classic. Miyazaki's masterpiece. Environmental epic. An animation that means a great many things to a great many people, inspiring artists the world over. But what truly makes this film so enthralling? There are other just as good, if not arguably better films in the Ghibli canon. But to me, and many others, there is just something about Princess Mononoke that is incredibly entertaining and rewatchable. Hello, I'm Nicholas, and this is Renaissance Manga. Today, we will be discussing character work in Princess Mononoke, known in the Far East as Mononoke Hime. In particular, we will discuss the secret ingredient writer-director Miyazaki uses to render characters in such realistic, vivid detail and craft such an engaging story. Now that I've successfully buried the lead, let us first discuss the protagonist of the film, Ashitaka Hiko.
Come, I'll show you all my secrets.
Initially presented as a calm, almost Buddha-like figure, the assault on his village and subsequent curse and ceremonial exile barely fazed the young man. As his sister sees him off, even knowing they'll never meet again, he meets her with a calm, confident smile. Cracks begin to show during his conflict with the samurai, in which his burgeoning cursed power causes him to inadvertently brutally kill two warriors. Even so, he progresses through his journey with stoic acceptance. Only upon his arrival at Irontown, when the working men are discussing the methods by which they were able to drive the boars from the forest, does the rage growing within Ashitaka's heart truly begin to show through. The watershed moment comes when Ashitaka meets with the Lady Eboshi, and upon hearing her plan to kill the forest spirit himself, his right arm channels the quite frankly justified rage growing within his own heart, and moves on its own to kill the woman. Only Ashitaka's conscious resistance of the curse via his own muscular brute force prevents the semi-intentional murder of the film's primary antagonist. Here lies one of the key sleight of hands Miyazaki performs to elevate this character from two-dimensional image to a quite convincing facsimile of a fully realized human being. The curse that afflicts Ashitaka is both an exterior, plot-driven force that drives him to inadvertently cause even more suffering, and an interior, emotional product of his interaction with the world, engendered by the injustices and affronts to which Ashitaka is both witness and victim. In a lesser work with a more bland protagonist, this kind of edgy curse, which yes, admittedly, is quite anime, would be completely separate from the main character's psyche, and at best it might cause our hypothetical protagonist to fly into a blind rage. I'm looking at you, Naruto. But not so with Ashitaka. Even at his most brutal, when he butchers enemy combatants with inhuman ease, he remains, for the most part, stoic and in control. Indeed, one can imagine a version of the script in which, save for the impending doom, the curse would have no effect on Ashitaka's psyche at all, and would draw forth no hatred or demon-like power from the heart of our exiled prince. In this hypothetical draft, Ashitaka's actions and decisions might still change very little from the version we got. This is how effective Miyazaki is at sculpting such a fantastical world, yet at the same time keeping the characters grounded. The magical and demonic powers that permeate the world of Princess Mononoke serve to heighten the feeling of realism because they serve multiple functions in the story, beyond merely a cool backdrop or prop for this epic tale. In other words, the curse feels so very real because it simultaneously exists both literally within the story and also figuratively as a cyclical wheel of hatred. Eboshi. Nearly as calm as the exiled prince, she prosecutes her war against beast and god with perfunctory, industrious zeal. She even welcomes Ashitaka into her inner sanctum, so confident is she in her victory. Only when Ashitaka truly begins to obstruct her does she lose her patience. The mad, seemingly irrational rage belied by her calm outward demeanor is implied to be the cost of her ambition. She means to reap all the profits from Irontown and create a world where brothel girl and leper can live in peace. The hatred born from such ambition, from the reaping of the land, destruction of nature, and the will to dominate those seen as enemies manifests as a virulent, deadly curse. The same one that, to quote Ashitaka, is eating me alive. What this dynamic ultimately creates are characters that have opposing, balancing characteristics. For every strength, there lies a weakness. For every victory or progress made to further their goals, there is a requisite cost. Eboshi feels so very real because there is such a real-world personal cost to her actions. San's ultimately futile war with the humans has weight because of her abrasive character and self-destructive loyalty mixed with hatred. No emotion, aim, nor ideal is presented as pure. Everything has a cost. Even in Toki's love and loyalty for the low-born people of Irontown, there lies an implicit, glaring blind spot. There is no room in her heart for the plight of San and the denizens of the forest, nor questioning of what the humans' presence in the forest might be causing. What this achieves is that no one character's perspective is presented as the dominant moral authority of the text. Instead, each character's perspective is treated as the logical and causal result of their role in the story. This approach to characterization not only makes every character in Princess Mononoke feel more real, it also invites the audience to interrogate the themes of the story on their own terms, and draw their own conclusions as to who was ultimately right, or even question if any right exists at all. But not only does this kind of characterization serve a thematic purpose, it also just makes for an incredibly immersive and entertaining experience. Princess Mononoke is arguably one of the most well-realized fantasy epics ever put to screen, and it is in no small part due to the strength, depth, and dual natures of each of its main characters. Every decision our dramatis personae make have consequences, and the audience can truly feel it. In my favorite scene of the entire film, Ashitaka is arguing with Moro, the wolf mother, and I can't help but find myself enraptured, no matter how many viewings. The pale moonlight, the stark rock outcropping high up on the bluff, the wide blocking and close-ups to Ashitaka's face, the incredible animation of Moro's fearsome snarl. All of these elements certainly contribute, but I think the real secret weapon that elevates this scene comes from the simultaneous interior and exterior conflicts happening in the dialogue. Ashitaka petitions for San's life, even as he knows that he cannot simply side against the humans, which puts him at odds with the wolves and even San's own feelings. Moro, on the other hand, mockingly scorns Ashitaka for wishing to save San, while at the same time she knows that her plight is ultimately futile and will likely result in San's death. Don't die. There's a sense of heightened emotion created in the interplay between these two conflicted yet resolute characters. This is the essence of what we might call high drama. In the realm of animation, the way in which action is presented is key. And Miyazaki Kantoku's bread and butter, the method by which he expresses motion in animation, is what I like to call action-reaction. Take, for example, this cut at the beginning of the film, or this one of Ashitaka falling, or of this one. These Rube Goldberg-like cause and effect animation cuts are not only incredibly satisfying to watch, they serve as a microcosm for the narrative, thematic, and structural composition of the entire film. Incidentally, this is also why the varying frame rate in anime is so important. It is a choice that serves a purpose: to convey motion. So no 60 FPS locked re-edits, thank you very much. Just as a character's emotions, thoughts, and feelings are in opposition, so too is the movement of the world and the arc of the story. The immersion and realism comes from the conveyance of the fact that we are physical beings in a material world. Our minds are just as bound to the laws of causality as an arrow is in flight. In this way, Miyazaki's, and indeed many an animator the world over's obsession with properly conveying kinetic movement lends itself tremendously to an ideal pairing of style and substance, achieving thematic and aesthetic resonance. This concludes the first installment from our newly minted Renaissance Manga channel. If you liked what you saw, have any comments, or even criticisms, please do not hesitate to comment, like, and subscribe. I will do my best to respond to everyone. There will be more to come, so please, o tanoshimi ni.